Thursday afternoon in Houston.
Shocker in August.
Shocker in August, August 7th. Welcome to summertime. It cracks me up because when I was out of town, I was in Maine and in Massachusetts. I was in Boston and then in Maine. And everybody out there is like, is it the summer? It's a little warm for the summer. It was 78. I'm like, you do not understand.
In New York, they do the same thing. It's 90. We're dying. And listen, it's
in the city.
It's warm.
Sure.
It's warm, but they don't quite get it.
They don't quite get it. So the Astros now still on the road, going. Speaking of New York, heading to New York to play the Yankees.
Yeah, actually, I am too. Tomorrow morning.
You're going to play the Yankees tomorrow night?
Well, we're going to. So we have a celebration of the 2000 World Series team.
Oh, get out
on Saturday!
Cool.
Yeah, so that's the third year of that's the third year of the 3 in a row. And so baseball's last dynasty. And then, we went to the World Series in 2001. Also, we lost to the Diamondbacks.
That's right.
With the former Astro,
yes,
Louis hitting that little fly ball.
That's right.
Over right at second base, but we had the infield in, beat Mariano in the 7th inning or in the 9th inning, excuse me.
That's wild. So this is 25 years since that.
It's crazy. I can't believe it's been 25 years. We celebrated the 98. That was the first year, arguably the best team to ever walk on the field 2 years ago. Last year, that was the middle year of the 3-year run, the 3 in a row. But they also won their last time the Yankees won the World Series was in 2009. And that was the first year of Yankee Stadium. So they decided to celebrate that team instead of the 99 team. And now we're back with 2000 team.
Makes sense. Well, that's cool. So that'll be fun for you. I saw somebody else recently went to their former team's thing like that. Somebody I follow on Twitter, and I was like, that's a cool thing. It must be a really cool thing to experience.
Yeah. And I may be going for the 1995 team. I may be going to the Atlanta Braves one here in a couple of weeks. Also, I'm trying to work that one out. I don't know if I'm going to be able to make it, but
that's awesome. Well, and the New York one, you just happen to be there when the Astros are there.
That's just coincidence.
That's really cool. That's really cool. Well, maybe you can spread some decent mojo for the Astros in Yankee Stadium.
We'll see what we can do.
Yeah, I know exactly. So it's it's the last time we spoke. It was the day.
Well, to tell you the truth, I know this is Bleav in Astros, but probably the Yankees probably need it more than the Astros do.
Right. Yankees are not. They are not playing well.
They are not playing well, and they may be in trouble.
It's like Yankees up. Yankees down, Red Sox up. It seems like there's some sort of weird.
Well, the crazy thing is, if you look all over the sport, it's been the same thing. It's been a roller coaster everywhere. Los Angeles is supposed to win like 150 games.
Yep.
Yeah, that ain't happening.
Detroit is suddenly at. Detroit's in a swoon right now. They've only won, I think, 2 of their last 10 or something like that. Yeah, it's these. There's everybody's going.
So you got races all over everywhere, and it's gonna make for a great postseason once we get there. But you know what I'm always looking for? I'm looking for complete and total chaos the last day of the season. I want nothing to be determined. I want everything to go down to the 9th inning of the last game, and that's one of the things that I do really like that Major League Baseball has done is having everybody start at the same time. I think that is really cool.
You're like first day of March. You're like first weekend of March Madness guy. You're like the where it's everything. It's like number 1 seeds are falling and like crazy crap is happening.
Absolute anarchy, just chaos everywhere.
That's amazing. It looks like it's shaping up to be like that too.
Could be.
There could be some real craziness going on.
Well, if you remember years ago, and I think it's one of the things that really pushed Major League Baseball to doing it. You remember Jonathan Papelbon gave up a home run. Tampa was, I think, was it Longoria hit one late in the game. Right. And that was a really, and now that wasn't predetermined. That was just baseball. And I think that's really what pushed Major League Baseball to have everybody play at the same time that day.
I think it's smart too. I mean,
You
I
can't
think what
scoreboard watch. I mean, you scoreboard watch, but you can't. You don't have the West Coast teams sitting and wait.
right,
Having a slight advantage. Because
right,
there's been times in the past that who's starting pitching today. Well, we're not exactly sure. If an East Coast team wins, it's going to be this guy. If an
right,
East Coast team
100%.
loses, we may go by bullpen by committee or something like that.
Well, and not only that, but the Athletic had a really interesting poll the other day about the Savannah Bananas, of course, the
Hmm.
sort of Harlem Globetrotters of Major League Baseball,
Yeah, they're
and
getting very popular.
they are. And one of the things they ask people is like, do you think this is like sort of bad for baseball and kind of silly, or whatever? And overwhelmingly, people were like, no, it's a blast. We love
I
it.
agree.
And
I
and I
agree.
do too. And I think that while I'm certainly not suggesting that that Major League Baseball teams have coordinated dance routines in the middle of their innings, I do think that it, Major League Baseball should pay attention to the fact that the thing that people love about it is fun. They love going to the ballpark.
That's
It's
it,
fun.
and
It's
that's what it's
exciting.
about. It's that
And that's
about
what
you know.
and yes, it's competition, and yes,
And
it's
baseball
exciting.
has always been, one of the it's not quite golf, but
No, but it's
act like you've
not
done it before. Don't show any
right.
emotion, all that
Right.
kind of stuff, and very very slow to change in any kind of rules or anything like
Right.
that. But this was cool. And listen, you go to a Savannah's Bananas baseball game.
Yeah.
No, expecting we're not looking. Who cares who wins?
Mhm.
Who cares how it. Let's see some fun stuff, and the kids
Yes.
absolutely love it. I tell you, I see kids all over everywhere. They've been down here in Houston a couple times, but heck,
Yep.
I know several kids that have traveled like all over the nation to see them.
Sure. I mean, yeah, look, it's kind of like the Wiggles versus the Beatles or whatever, right? I mean, it is ultimately kind of a kids thing, and I get it, but there's no reason that you can't have a good time and that fans
Yeah, the
shouldn't
love
be
for this sport
treated
is
to a good
plenty
time.
big enough to have
Yes.
real baseball, and then
Right.
some funner
There's
stuff.
Listen, one of my favorite things to watch when, videos of on social media are like bloopers. Like because when
Yeah,
baseball players are having fun, that is one of the things that I think baseball has a real advantage over other sports is because it is slower
yeah,
than other sports and there is a little time in between innings and between whatever. There is the opportunity for players to be a little to show their personality, let's
sure,
say. And
sure.
I just don't think you don't see that as much in other sports because they just don't have the time. In football, you're
Right,
constantly
and
running on
and
and off the floor,
and you don't want to be messing around when you're playing a contact sport. You want to keep your concentration
Right.
because a lot of times that's when injuries happen, all that
Sure.
kind of stuff. And football, especially football in particular, you're wearing all those pads,
Yeah.
and you know it's just a different sport. But
But guys on the
that's
base paths goofing with one another is fun. It's
right.
just super fun, and and fans love that stuff. All right, so the last time we were here, it was the day of the trading deadline,
Yeah, it was a
and
few hours before the deadline.
we're sitting around
Yes,
talking about how like, oh, Carlos Correa, that
it's
seems
not
like
going
a
to
real
happen. That's a
long
pipe
shot.
dream. Yeah,
And lo and
we
behold,
swung and missed on that one.
exactly. I think was real. First of all, the Astros did not make a move for any pitching. I've read a couple of really interesting reports where the main reason they didn't is because the pitchers they were interested in, they wanted a lot in return.
Sure. And we
Namely, they
talked
wanted
about that in that podcast about how it was,
right
the asking prices for the top flight guys were going to be extremely
right
high.
and
And
yes,
we saw that, and you
yes.
expected that. And the only thing we didn't expect is that the Minnesota Twins
Woo!
having a garage sale.
I mean, more than a garage sale. I mean, is there anyone left? I feel like they're gonna have to like call up like the beer guys to come out
Yeah.
on the field
The
and play an
ultimate
inning. I mean,
salary dumps. Yeah.
whew, man, I mean, it reminds me of the year after the Marlins won the World Series
Yes.
and they just
Yeah.
got rid of everybody. They're
Right.
like,
I
that's
think the
it.
Cardinals did it one
Yeah,
year. And
they
then there was
did.
somebody else that was in second place, maybe Kansas City years and years ago,
Somebody, yeah.
that would, they were in second place. They were right there, but but this isn't a World Series championship team, so we're selling.
I mean, good for us. We get Carlos
Right.
Correa for basically nothing. I mean, we have to pay his salary, of course, but I think
Well, not
that
all of it though.
not all
Only
of it.
only two-thirds, right?
Two
About two
thirds, yeah,
thirds. Yeah.
about 70 million of the 100 million. So a chunk of change, but not as bad as it could have been. And then they also get Jesus Sanchez, who, quite frankly, has been pretty good
Yes.
since getting here as an Astro, and also puts another left-handed bat in the lineup that they just haven't had. But let's talk for a minute about Correa specifically,
Mhm.
because here's the thing. I was unsure how I felt about it. I love Carlos Correa as a player. I loved him
Yeah.
as an Astro. Um, Probably of that era, second for me only maybe to George Springer in terms of just favorites, you know.
Mhm.
But the thing that I thought about Correa is coming back here. Sure, his bat helps you, of course. He's a good hitter, and that's great. He's like Paredes was is better this year.
Mhm.
But I think the thing is, first of all, defensively, he is an immediate upgrade. Like this is a guy who, and playing third, which I feel like probably is maybe even his best position given his size and his arm strength and everything else. But the other thing too is I'm not sure you can discount the fact that Correa was and probably now is again the vocal leader of the Astros. He is a
Yeah.
guy who gets in here and he tells people, and he's sort of carries the attitude of the team. And
Yeah.
I'm not sure you can underrepresent that as being important as in this move.
So we saw Carlos, especially the last couple of years here with the Astros. Actually, from 2020, he kind of took
Yeah.
a big leadership
Yeah.
role
He
in
did.
2020, and I think that's where the biggest part, the biggest plus is going to be. I'm not saying the
Agreed.
Astros didn't have any leadership, but
No.
Correa, a natural leader, and we've seen him take even already. You see mound visits, he goes to the mound. Is he
Right.
saying anything? Maybe not, probably not, but he's
Right.
there, and it's just more of a support type thing. But
Yeah.
we know that he has the ultimate leadership qualities that's going to benefit anyone. Offensively, he's a good player. I've never thought of Carlos Correa as an elite hitter.
No,
He's no.
he's definitely not.
I don't know if I'm also ready to say he's a better third baseman than shortstop. I still think he's one of the
Mhm.
premier shortstops in the game. But is he going to be a good third baseman? Yes, he is. And you go all the way back to when he first came up, when he was drafted. The Astros talked about how third base was probably going to be his position because of his
Right.
size. Um, Now you didn't know how that was going to all work out, and it's been
Right.
a quite a winding road for Carlos Correa to get
Sure.
back to the Astros. But it's been yeah, I thought, and you know what, I thought it did more than anything else. It's just unfortunate they ran into a very hot Red Sox team
Right.
as soon as he stepped in. Was that it's just a big lift. It's a big lift for the clubhouse. It's a big lift for the organization. It's a big lift for the fan base that
Right.
you get one of your iconic players back, even if he's not in the same position. But what a left side of the infield the
Ooh,
Astros have now. I mean, with
I
Pena
mean,
at short, him coming off the, because that was really overshadowed by the Correa trade.
oh,
Uh,
yeah.
getting Pena back at short, and then you got Correa at third. Just tremendous, tremendous talent on the left side of the infield.
I mean, when Ramon Urias is playing second, they
Hmm.
might have the best defensive infield in
Could
baseball.
be,
I
could
mean,
be,
they have Gold
because
Glovers.
Christian Walker's one too. Yeah.
Yes, I mean, they have Gold Glovers across the infield. I wanna mention something about Correa that, speaks to what you were saying, and that is there was an article about the trade, that I think Ken Rosenthal wrote it, and it was talking about, like, right before the trade happened, there was I don't know if you saw all that stuff that happened in Minnesota where, one of the guys who was getting traded, they pulled him out, and he had, like, a big,
Hmm.
and, like, the pitcher kind of exploded and got mad at the manager, because he was delayed, and then he ended up not pitching very well and getting pulled out of the game. It was kind of a big brouhaha about
Yeah.
it. Well, after it happened, Correa went to the pitcher, Jax, I think was his name, and he got
Hmm.
traded too, and said, "Hey, listen, you probably need to talk to the manager. I'll go with you." And he
Yes.
went in and essentially just mediated this discussion between the
Right.
manager and the pitcher.
Yeah.
And that's the kind of thing that I'm not you can say it more because you've been in clubhouses,
Hmm.
it feels to me like that seems like kind of a big deal. I mean, is that kind of person being in a locker room, is that a big deal for players?
Sure it is. Sure it is. I mean, is it a necessity? No, it's
Right.
not. It's more of a luxury. But when you have someone with that kind of leadership quality, it as long as he's going in the right direction, which is the same
Hmm.
direction as the rest of the team. There's
Sure.
no, I mean, absolutely it can be. And the Correa went in there. Just the simple fact was that he wanted to make sure that Jax the pitcher didn't. He was highly emotional. He was
Yes.
mad. Okay, and let's keep it professional. Let's not burn any bridges because you got to make sure. I mean, Correa is a perfect example. You got to make sure that you keep everybody as happy as possible. Listen, getting traded is not fun, whether you know it's coming or not. It
Right.
upsets your professional life. It upsets your personal life,
Yeah, we
your
talked
fan,
about that.
all kinds.
Crazy.
I mean, it's really crazy, but it's part of the sport. It's part of being a Major League Baseball player that this could happen at any time, barring a couple unique situations.
Yeah, I just think that when you look at what Correa brings, and the fact that they just didn't have to give up pretty much anything to get him,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah,
just it
the
seems like a
kid, I can't
win-win.
remember his name. The kid that they gave up, the A baller, he had been pitching pretty well, but you
No,
still gave
solid
up an
pitcher.
A ball pitcher,
Right.
which is still a long ways. There's still development that has to happen there to get to the
Right.
big leagues. But I mean, this was, you know, great for the Astros team,
Mhm.
organization, fan base, but
Yes.
this was 100% a salary dump by the Minnesota
Oh,
Twins.
Minnesota, ironically, the bigger of the trades in terms of the number of players involved and the cost and everything was for Jesus Sanchez, and I'm fascinated by the fact that look, they moved Ryan Gusto. Gusto was never really going to be a part of any rotation of the Astros. He was good for him for gobbling up
Yeah,
innings, for them when they
yeah.
needed him to. Um, they gave
I
up a
mean,
couple
you're
of.
looking at, to me, what one of the things that you're trying to do as an organization, as an analyst, um,
Mhm.
as a minor league coordinator, and even a big league, part of the big league staff, is determine what is his ultimate job. If everything works out, where was
Right.
Gusto going to be? He's probably a back end of the rotation starter.
Yeah. At
Okay,
best, probably.
and that's not anything. And listen, does that make him valuable? Sure, it does, but
Mhm.
not nearly as valuable as a middle of the rotation or even a front end of the rotation. So,
Yeah.
that was, and he's young, he's controllable, and
Right.
that's where all the other stuff comes in. Is
Right.
that he's not going to make, even if he stays in the big leagues, he's not going to make money for a few years, and
Right.
you have control of him for the next six.
Yeah, and Sanchez, same kind of deal. I mean, he's got 2 more years, I think, of arbitration eligibility. He's not going to get paid boatloads of money. He knows his
Right.
role. He's a guy that's probably going to platoon with Cam Smith most of the rest of the season, just because
Hmm.
Cam has hit a wall clearly. And I think, and you'll probably see him play a little bit in left field as well.
Yeah.
But this is a guy that gets a left-handed bat into the lineup immediately. He's solid defensively, if not spectacular. But the main thing is you're putting a left-handed bat and a guy who can hit. I mean, he's
Sure.
like the numbers from the left side are pretty remarkable. I mean, I think he's hit 69 home runs in his career, and 60 of them were against right-handed pitching.
Yeah.
I mean, he clearly loves to play against,
And
and we've seen that.
it's still a right-handed dominated league.
Yes, and we've seen that here, just over this series. He looked really good in his first series with the Astros, played really well. I
Mhm.
think both impactful trades, along with Ramon Urias, who I think is also an impactful trade just simply because of his defense at second
Yep.
base, where they kind of have a hole. So I think overall, I mean, I give the Astros pretty high marks for their trade deadline.
Oh,
It would have been nice to have an arm,
I'm
but
giving them an A.
mhm.
I don't know if there's any such thing called an A plus, but I'm giving them an A just simply because I wasn't expecting much. I mean, my expectations were low just simply because of how difficult it was going to be, because of who you were going to have to trade. Because you were going to
Right.
have to take, to get any of the big guys, you were going to have to take players off of your 26-man roster, guys that were already trying to help you, and so there's a give and take there. So I thought Dana did a really nice job of making the Astros better with players that are interchangeable, because that's how this whole
Yes,
roster has
a
been
lot
put
of
together.
flexibility.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
a
mean,
lot of roster
that was
flexibility.
going to be, we've been talking about, left-handed batters and all that kind of stuff, and,
Mhm.
go and get another DH. Well, you're still expecting Jordan back any time now,
Yep.
hopefully. And you can't, somebody's got to play in the field. You have
Right.
to have a defensive position also. So, no, I thought Dana Brown did a really nice job in this trade deadline.
I thought it was particularly good because he didn't have to sacrifice any of their look, the
True.
Astros. I read a really great story a couple of weeks ago about why the Astros farm system has seemed to produce quality major league talent without necessarily being ranked highly.
Hmm.
And it's because essentially they have pretty good top end talent that's major league baseball ready. It's not necessarily star level, right?
Right.
Like, but they have pretty good solid players that can play at the big league level and they know how to utilize them. But
Yeah,
what
and you
they
have to give credit to the scouting and the
yeah.
player development side of it. That
Yeah,
how many times have we seen these guys come up,
right.
and even in this day and age where we have information at our fingertips, we have
Mhm.
supercomputers in our hands,
That's right.
you know, and you still go, yeah, who is this guy? And then he
Right.
comes up and is at least solid, and is helping the team in one way or
Yeah.
another, and
I
and
mean,
so there's
can we get an amen for George Costanza, Jason Alexander, who like I mean, 6 innings, like Jason Alexander,
right.
right? I mean, are you kidding me? Like, are we sure this isn't the guy that wore the naked suit and dragged the
With a really good changeup. He
Yes,
had a
and
really
this
good has
isn't
a
the guy
really
that
good changeup.
dragged the Yankees championship thing around the ballpark, like trying to get fired. Like, I
Yeah.
mean, that was so yeah, another good example of just bringing guys up who can fill the holes that they need to fill.
I mean,
And
AJ Blueball just a couple days ago.
yes, another good
I mean,
example. And
just an outstanding outing,
yes,
and you actually saw his confidence grow the further
yes,
he went in that game.
he
I
really
mean, we
did.
saw we saw his velocity jump up. I mean, all of a sudden,
Right.
dude was kind of strutting around. I
He
dug
was
it.
strutting a little bit.
The only unfortunate thing was that with him throwing that many innings, he wasn't going to be able to pitch again for 5 or 6 days, and
Right.
you can't just burn the position in the bullpen, and
No.
so he got optioned back down to AAA. But I'll tell you what, first big league win. Congratulations. That was
Yes.
awesome. And he did a really nice job.
Yeah, and the Astros have been really adept at that, which is good for them. I think though that the fact that they didn't have to give up any of their top ranked 10 guys,
True.
particularly because listen, if you count Cam Smith in there, and it really can't now that he's played in the big leagues this long, but if you look at that, they do have 2 or 3 guys who are considered among the better 100 prospects in baseball. Bryce
Mhm.
Matthews, chief among them. Jacob Melton is still up there. There's a handful of those guys that I think if you would have had to give those guys up, maybe then you would have said, okay, unless because what I heard for Dylan Cease was that they wanted Matthews and Cam Smith. And I'm like, there's no
No way.
chance you give them up for
No
a
way.
rental of Dylan Cease. Like
Right.
you've got to be
Right.
kidding me.
And then
It's like,
I heard, what was it? Was it Joe Ryan? That
yeah,
was crazy high too.
it was crazy high.
Yeah.
And the Astros don't have the depth in the minors to do that. And good for Dana for being judicious in making
Right.
his selections.
Yep.
So yeah, overall, really good trade deadline, I think, for the Astros. I think it paid dividends already. I think it will continue to pay dividends. And here's the other thing too. I wrote about this yesterday about the Astros, where I think are kind of turning a bit of a corner, particularly offensively. But the main reason is because they're getting players back. I mean,
Right.
that's the biggest main thing. Like you said, Jeremy Pena overshadowed by the fact they got Carlos Correa, but
Mhm.
Pena's back and looks good out there, both defensively and at the plate. You get Spencer Arrighetti back. Had a rough inning, but overall pitched fairly solidly in
And
his
it's healthy.
first outing back and is
Yeah.
fully healthy. It looks like Christian Javier will pitch for the Astros next week, which
Yeah.
is remarkable
Well,
when you
he's
consider.
had. I mean, he's had what,
I think
rehab
it's 6 rehab
six
starts.
rehab
Yeah,
pitching appearances.
and has
So
looked good
yeah,
in
the
like
velocity is
look.
back up. That was one of the things you
Yes.
were always looking at before he went down was, he was still he wasn't the swing and miss pitcher that he was,
Hmm.
and his velocity had dropped. So good to
Yeah.
hear that the velocity is back up. And yeah, I mean, this is we've been saying the whole time. I mean, what is their best trade deadline scenario? Is getting
Right.
these dudes back. Is getting to
Oh,
be
it's
a full
huge.
roster.
And Jordan, the report I saw from him just the other day was that he's in Florida. He's been swinging the bat. They've
Hmm.
basically been letting him take live batting practice every other day, letting him
Right.
rest in between. He's had no soreness. He's had no setbacks, no problems with the hand. The last I heard was they were saying he could be back by around the 20th or so of August. So within the next like 10 to 15 days. Who knows?
It's
Where I'm
to this point, I am like, you know
I
what?
know.
He's going to
I
be
know what
back
you
when he's back.
exactly.
We've gotten our hopes up so many different
Yeah.
times. Um, and I'm
No.
not gonna I'm not gonna say it's at anybody's fault. It's
No.
just the situation,
It is what it
and
is.
because part of it is the organization. There's probably information out there they really didn't want to give, but the media is asking about him every
Yeah.
single solitary day, and so it's a difficult situation trying to say the same thing 30 different ways. That we're not sure when Jordan's going to be back, and so
Well,
I'm not going to believe it until
yeah,
the lineup card comes out. His name
agreed.
is on the lineup card for the
Agreed.
Houston Astros, and we see him saunter up to the plate there in the first
Listen,
first inning.
if I had Chandler Rome chasing me around, nagging my ass all day long, I'd probably be like, listen, what do you want to know? I'll tell you
Like,
anything. Listen,
I'll tell
I
you
I
anything. Leave
I
me
don't
alone.
know Chandler well. I've chatted with him
I
on
know
a number of
Chandler pretty well.
occasions,
He's a good
and
dude.
he's a
But
good dude, but he is relentless. He is like
he is a
so
little. He's
and
got a little bit of terrier in him.
he's and
He's got but you know what?
he's a good
It's
dude.
okay. He's doing his job. That's what his
But
job
he
is to do.
always seems annoyed. He always seems I've never seen that dude when he
Yep.
didn't seem which is why I think he and Brian McTaggart are the perfect two people to cover the
Oh,
Astros because
polar
Tags is
opposites.
the exact
Oh,
opposite.
polar
Just the
opposites.
most
They're both
chill.
pretty quiet, but as
Yeah,
far
they
as their
are.
personalities, I mean,
Just
Brian McTaggart's one of the nicest people on the
he is
freaking
one
planet.
of
To
the
tell you the
sweetest
truth,
people that
he has
exists.
no business being in this
He
industry. He's too
really doesn't.
nice.
He is genuinely one of the
Yes, he
nicest people
is.
you'll ever meet
And
in your entire
and
life.
Chandler is too. But
Oh, he is too.
Chandler's just a little bit more salty.
That's salty is the right word. I love, and not to go down this rabbit hole, but I love Chandler Rome responding to people on Twitter. I love it.
Oh,
It is
the
like it makes the
sarcasm.
sarcasm
The
and
oh
the
yes.
it's just dripping with cynicism and
Yes.
just I love it. I just love it so much. And in fact,
I can tell you, my wife tells me this all the time, and you could do this with Chandler. She tells me, "I can hear your eye roll." That's Chandler. You
that's
can hear.
100%.
You can read his eye roll.
The last person in the media who I knew, I may still know him, but who I feel like had that same, like the vibe was the same, was Charlie Palillo.
Okay.
That guy was a walking human eye roll. I mean, he
Hmm.
just was. And it could be it would be I remember one time going to media day, I think it was for the Rockets. And I saw him and I was like, "Hey Charlie, how's it going?" And I just kind of walked past him. And
Yeah.
then a little bit later, we were all kind of standing in line waiting to go in a room. And I this time I thought, okay, I'm gonna engage him and actually chat for a moment because we did know each other.
Yeah.
And I said, "Hey Charlie, how's it going?" He goes, "Again, fine." I was like, "Holy shit."
There
I
it
was like,
is.
"Damn, man.
There it
I'm
is.
just being friendly, bro. Take it down a
That
notch."
was supposed to start a
It's
conversation.
that damn New York.
Now
That's
I
that
want to punch
damn
you
New
in the
York.
face.
That's a damn New York business. All right. Speaking of weird things, though, I got to ask you about this one. We talked about it just briefly before we came on here. Isaac Paredes is apparently getting some sort of platelet injections
Okay.
into his
PRPs.
hamstring.
Yep.
Some kind of, I don't know. I don't know if he flew to Romania. I'm not sure what happened.
No,
I'm
it's
not
done
sure if
around here.
I know.
PRPs
Because I'm,
they're pretty
well, I
common.
remember Kobe did that. He like
Yeah.
flew to Germany and had like infusions of all sorts of
Yeah.
stuff. So they're doing this in lieu of surgery and they're going to see how it works.
Yeah.
Right. So the question I have, and I really have been wondering this out loud as someone who is not a doctor, and does not play one on television or on a podcast.
Did not
What?
stay at a Holiday Inn Express last night.
That's right. And I did not study medicine. I don't know anything about it. I can't explain it. But the theory is here that they had this injection
Mhm.
and then he's got to rest for like a few weeks. And then they're going to reevaluate to see if it made any
Sure.
improvement. And if it does, then great. And if it doesn't, then he'll probably still have to have surgery. So
Yeah.
my thing is this really like, I mean, why is this happening? Like if Isaac Paredes could have the surgery and he could be good to go and ready, is it really? I mean, I know the Astros want to get to the World Series again, but
well, I don't know if it's just the Astros or if it's Paredes. It's
No.
probably both.
Fair.
So what a PRP is, it's also called blood spinning, and they put it in a centrifuge and they spin it, and they get
It's
to separate everything.
it's your own blood. They
It's
draw it
your
out,
own
right?
blood. There's
Yeah, right.
nothing extra, but the PRP, which is
Platelet
plasma rich.
plasma rich
No,
platelet.
I'm sorry. Yes, it's platelet rich plasma.
That's right.
So, and what it is, and the healing factors in our blood are in that
Mm,
the platelets. So it's like 100 times more platelets once they
man,
spin it than what your blood just naturally has in it. Just the regular,
it's like a
the way it's
B12 shot when
diffused.
you have the flu, but on
Right.
steroids.
And but this is something that's coming out of your body and you're putting it back in. And this is a pretty common occurrence now. And it's one of the
Mm,
things that, especially with soft tissue. Now,
mhm.
I'm acting like I know something because I've had these.
Have you?
I've had it done in my left knee right at the end of my career. Now, it's not nearly as effective in like joints as it
Mhm.
is in soft tissue, like muscles. I mean, this is a torn muscle. So, hopefully this does allow him to heal up, but that's what it is. It's like 100 times more potent,
Is
the
it like
healing
when
factor.
they do it, obviously they draw your blood. Do they put it back in like with an IV or do they inject it with a
Oh no,
needle?
they
Like how
just
does it
they inject it right into
Oh, into the
wherever
spot.
where the injury is. Yes, yeah.
Oh, with a big
So I
long
mean,
needle.
it depends on how deep it's going. I know in my
Yeah.
knee it was not a little needle, but
I'm sure it
I
didn't
guess
feel
probably
real
in your
good.
hamstrings, probably not real small either.
No, I would imagine not.
But if he has surgery, they told us surgery was 6 to 8 months.
Right.
We're talking we're talking next year.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know,
Spring break, spring training.
yeah. So, i- is this could this end up costing him a little bit more time next year if he still has
Mm.
to get it? Yeah, but I understand why you do it. Maybe it does help. Maybe it
Yeah.
does help you heal up faster. You can get back on the field and help the team this year.
It's I mean, look, it's fascinating. As you mentioned though before, it's like if he comes back, mm,
We're
who's
gonna play.
playing where?
Hmm.
Yeah. I now they have said out loud on several occasions that they've considered moving guys around on the infield, right? There was some talk about potentially Correa getting some reps at second,
Yeah,
and even possibly getting some reps to Paredes at second, although that's not his certainly not his natural position.
right.
But but yeah, I think that's just a good problem to have, right?
But
I
you
mean,
remember
it's like
that was a discussion we were having at the beginning of the season when they were
right,
trying maybe getting Bregman back.
right,
Is put
right,
Paredes, who they had already signed free agency, to put him at second base. So I
right,
mean, this isn't a novel idea. It's not like this is coming out of absolutely nowhere. But
right.
we'll just
It's
have to wait and see. It's
hey,
one of the benefits you have of having athletic people, and I think that's how this Astros team has put this together. That you don't have guys that are keyholed into one position. Guys can move around.
it's a
You know,
huge benefit. It's a huge benefit, and I don't know about other teams because I admittedly don't follow the teams nearly as
Mhm.
closely, but it does. I have read a few things about how this is something the Astros particularly prize is that versatility,
Sure.
maybe even to a greater degree than other teams do.
Yeah.
And certainly, I'm going to give the Astros the benefit of the doubt when it comes to most of these things because look at their success rate. I mean, it's
Yeah.
not like
Well, yeah.
they've been pretty damn successful
I mean,
at figuring things out for a while now.
whether you go back to Marwin Gonzalez, who was super
Right.
utility, you've got several players on this team, and that just gives you more options. I think the crazy thing is, I was talking to a friend of mine yesterday. The Astros have, I mean, used I mean, over 100 different lineups. They're like what 115 games, 110,
Yeah, yeah.
115 games in.
100 and yeah, something
They've
like
used
that.
like right at 100 or a little over 100 different lineups.
That's
But
insane.
hey, whatever.
Well, when I was
It wouldn't have been that way if Jordan had been healthy and you put him in the middle of the
right,
lineup, and you got
right.
Pena didn't break his rib, and
Yeah,
but
right,
you have to put
exactly.
you got to put a lineup together every night, and sometimes
Well,
it seems like they're just drawing it out of a hat on occasion.
speaking of utility players, when I just a small anecdote, when I was years ago, before when I met my wife, and I was doing some freelance work for the Houston Press. I still do some, obviously, do some writing for them, but I was doing some freelance stuff. I was filling in for guys here and there and covering some stuff, and so I'd fill in for the music editor for a bit or the news editor or whatever. And John Lomax, rest in peace, who was there at the time. used to refer to me as the Bill Spires of the Houston Press.
There
So I was
you
like,
go.
now that is a throwback to utility guy. Billy Spires.
Yes,
I
no
was like,
doubt, no doubt.
that is a reference. Look it up, kids. Google that. Google Billy Spires. See what you find out. All right. Well, listen, Yankees this weekend. You're going to be at Yankee Stadium, which
I
is
will.
amazing, super cool. I hope you guys have an amazing time, and I hope that your entire celebration is completely ruined by a sweep of the Yankees by the Astros. No
Well, we're
offense.
on Saturday, so whatever.
Are you gonna stay for the weekend? Or are you coming right back?
Um, I don't. I No, I'm not staying for the whole weekend,
Yeah.
but I think yeah, I'm coming back. Early Saturday morning, Sunday morning, early
Yeah,
Sunday morning.
that's cool. New York's cool. This time, honestly, New York's hot, but it's not nearly as bad as here. So
No, no,
it
I'd
should
agree.
be all right. Go out and get you some Italian food while you're there. Hit Little Italy, or just
I've spent so much time in
yeah. I was gonna say you've been in New
in New
York for.
York. Italian food is. I'm not gonna say I don't like it, and
I'd get a
I do
slice at
eat it on
least.
occasion. But now New York style pizza, that's a different
Yeah,
story. But
I get a slice at least while I'm there. It's
to
like when I was in
me, to
Maine and
me,
I ate lobster rolls.
Italian's
I
kind
get
of
it.
Italian.
Hey, when I was in Maine, you think I didn't eat lobster rolls?
Right?
Mm-mm. I ate several.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
All right, guys.
Actually,
Thanks so
go up
much
to
for joining.
Boston, you get your
Oh,
clam chowder.
we had the best clam chowder we had was at a little place in York, Maine, which is
Hmm.
just outside of Portland, in between Portland and Boston. And we were driving up and we stopped this little place called the Goldenrod, and it's like a diner and a candy store in the same. It's in this little
Okay.
coastal like resort town. Holy crap. Now that was legitimate clam chowder, and lobster
Right.
bisque was like, ooh, at a diner. Can't beat that. All right, thanks everybody for joining us. We will see you next time. Hopefully we'll have some good news after the
That's
weekend
right.
against the
That's
Yankees. And
right.
obviously, Mike, have a wonderful time in New York
Will
and
do. Will
enjoy
do.
the Big Apple. Thanks everybody for joining us. As always, go Astros.
Adios.